Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining our new call, A Body Balanced, with an introduction to polarity. With myself, I am Katherine Connors, a polarity practitioner, where I help balance the body through the five elements. We have ether, air, fire, water, and earth. They run down all of those fingertips as well as all of our toes from head to toe on our entire bodies. So, what I do in all of my sessions, whenever I meet with you, whether it's virtually or in person, is we start off with talk therapy and we do a little bit of getting anything up off our chest, allowing thoughts that have been circulating in our minds up out into the air, clearing that energy right from the get go just by talking. I do a lot of reflecting where I repeat it back to you in your own words, exactly as you described, so you can truly hear yourself for possibly the first time in a safe space where the reflection really works for you in a way that you could understand it and hear it in a way that you need. So after we do that, I bring you into a guided meditation where we may go all the way back to childhood to figure out where all of this is stemming from and why you're feeling this way. We do exercises such as higher, lower self, where we bring you to your happiest times or a time where you may have been troubled or scared. But then we always bring it back to a safe, neutral space before we bring you back to the room and allow you to now go into the healing process for yourself. So, whether that be virtually like this, where we're talking, I'll invite you to close your eyes and do some connecting with your breath work as I walk you through where I would physically be holding space for you on our table. If we were in person, I would invite you up there and I'd be laying my hands on your body, either where ether or air or fire lies. And there's different balance body protocols where I can do that. So it feels really nice. It's hands-on physical touch therapy, or it's walking you through it energetically via the ethers. So once we're done with that, I always leave all of my clients with a little bit of guidance to continue on with your highest healing, whether that be through nutrition. I could suggest to you, like, okay, it seemed like water was coming up for you today. You were crying a lot. So let's stay away from foods that absorb a lot of water because what we need to do right now is release that water. So, water foods would be considered anything that grows on the earth and taking in water. That would be melons, cantaloupes, honeydews, watermelon, lettuce, anything that grows up and out into the earth. But instead, I would add those back in later, of course, because they're very healthy and we would love for you to keep eating those, but just not now at the moment while we're flushing out old water and bringing in new water. Instead, I would suggest that you maybe bring in foods and eat things that absorb water, that grow down into the earth, nice root foods, carrots, gingers, turmerics, potatoes, anything that's really going to suck up all of that extra stagnant water that's blocking you, trapping you, and not flowing in the direction it's intended to. So, when we are done with balancing our body, you really will truly feel a difference. And that may be all you need. Perhaps, you may come back to me another time because now you're just feeling so fiery and feisty and angry at the world. And so now we'll have to work on fire during our next session instead. We could go through all five of the elements. There's endless amount of protocols and body balances that we can do together. But you could also be good where you are at with just one session. It's not like a chiropractor that you have to come back and see me over and over again. But I'm always grateful when people do. And that would be a full practitioner polarity session for about an hour. I would say the first one would go for. And then from there, we could always break it down and go according to your time or needs or budget, depending on where you are and what's coming up for you that day. So now that you know all about me and what I do with polarity and what you could possibly experience if you end up booking with me, you could go to polarityenergyhealing.com and you could see all of my appointments that are available, whether it's in person or virtually. Or if you like, I'm also doing equine therapy now where I'm doing human healing sessions with the horses and they come together and help me with the polarity. and lay their heads on your body, depending on where they feel you need to send the most energy and love to as well. And it's so profound. It's such an incredible experience. And that's available to be able to book with me. I'm in Vero Beach, Florida. And I'm available to work on that out of the ranches here locally in town. But anything else can be done where I could come to you, or I could meet you in a park, in a beach, at your home, whatever you like. I'm very mobile at the moment and open to healing wherever it takes place. So that is all about polarity, who I am, what I do, where you can find me, where you can learn more about it, and where it can be booked. But with me tonight, I have a very special guest. I have Dr. Sara with us, who is a functional medicine doctor. Is that correct? Yes,
Yes, yes.
wonderful. And we were connected because I actually attended one of her virtual calls that was titled "You Are Not Broken." And I was like, okay, you got me. Because don't we always have that feeling somewhere at some point in our lives, like, I just broke. Because we're only human and it happens to all of us. But I wanted to hear everything she had to say. Within the first 1 minute, I was captured. I was like, okay, tell me more, because it was so inquisitive. I dove deeper into my feminine body than I ever had before. Because usually, when you go and see a doctor, they give you 5 minutes, they give you a prescription, and you're out the door, and you don't even understand what it is that you got the prescription for or what's happening to your body. Well, Dr. Sarah broke it down. So I'm going to have her take it from here and tell you a little bit more about who she is and what she does, and how she could help you on her calls as well. So I'm so excited to have her here with us tonight. Thank you, Dr. Sarah, for coming. And please, share your genius with the world, because everyone needs to hear what you are ready to tell us.
Well, first off, thank you so much for having me here. I really appreciate it. Your positivity and what you are doing is utterly amazing, and it's so important in the health span and longevity of our lives. Because one thing that I know after treating hundreds and hundreds of women, and really is truly my mission in life. I am a physician. I want to treat as many women as possible, but the power, as you explained, is in being able to help women connect to who they are, what these and you're doing it from where are these symptoms coming from, what got you here, what makes you feel that way. And I'm doing the exact same thing, except from a medical standpoint, right?
Perfect.
So it's what your body gone through, right? What is your
Mhm.
iron level? What is your ferritin? What is your high sensitivity CRP? You know, your fasting insulin is so high, and you're stressed and you're anxious, and traditional medicine wants to put you on an SSRI or give you an antidepressant, but what your body is just fighting, right? Our bodies are always constantly, I always tell my patients that our brain is going to protect us at all means possible. Okay. And if it's regulating a dysregulated system, if your insulin is high and your inflammation is high and your hormones could be out of whack and all of these things, your brain shuts down from any other capacity that we have and only
Mm.
allows us to function, the body to function as is, to keep us actually upright. And sometimes we're not, right? And so that's exactly how I practice medicine, which is first off, what is your story, right? Because one of the biggest pieces of medicine, I can give you all of the advice in the world. I can tell you all of the things to do, but I need to see you in order to get you where you need to be through your eyes. What your idea of health span is, what your idea of longevity looks like, what your idea of a good life looks like, right? And then I'm going to look at your body. I'm going to look at all of those places, look for all of those hidden signs, all of those things that we can go back and shoot precision little guided missiles at, right? To
Mm.
help you come back with that overall health. And in that process, right, that's the medical piece for me, my job. But in that process, what my real mission is to allow you, and you said a word I love, which is hold
Mm.
space for you to listen to what your body is telling you, right? So many things, and especially in midlife women and neurodivergent women, right? We are the makers of all things, right? We are moms and we are CEOs and we're CFOs and we're doing all of these amazing things, but nobody holds space for us.
Mm.
And learning how to listen to what our body is saying turns the chaos honestly into comfort, right? So when those times feel like really crazy, it could be like, okay, what did Dr. Sarah say? Like, oh, what day is this in my cycle? Oh no, like this is my luteal phase, my estrogen is low, or and that means my cortisol is up, and that makes sense with what I'm feeling. So it's not just about like, hey, these are the supplements you should take. Hey, these are the peptides you should take, right? It's about, how do I get you to understand the signals from your body, arm you with the tools to set forth to work on those things, bring things back, right, into optimization. I don't use the word balance because nothing from a hormonal, peptidal spectrum, right, nothing is truly balanced. It's more optimized because everybody is so unique, right? And so, for example, what a vitamin D level that works really well for you may not for me, right? And the same thing from a supplementation standpoint. I may need 1,000 IU, you may need 4,000 to maintain you. And that is also important to know, that we cannot compare ourselves to everyone else, right? And we're really good at that. The internet is really good at that. Social media is really good at telling what we should do, what we should look like, how we should talk, what we should be doing, right? Even from a health perspective. All right, everybody should be keto, or everybody should be this. There's actually absolutely nothing in medicine that everybody should be or everybody should do, right? Because we are all different and unique, and we all have different requirements. And so that is really my mission in life. It's obviously, I'm a board certified physician. I love medicine, but I love personalized medicine, right? I love medicine that is, I always say, and first off, I love equine therapy. One other thing about me is that I'm also a Navy physician. So 25 years, hoping to retire this year. And what equine therapy has done from a veteran standpoint is unbelievable. And so I love this. When you said, the horses came over and laid their heads, I was like all in. Like,
Yeah.
this is absolutely amazing. These animals are amazing. And what it can do for the connection, right? The human animal body connection is just unbelievable. But furthermore than that, it takes us into a space where we can hold space for ourselves, right? And we can understand what our body is saying. And love this nutrition piece, right? Because if we're not fueling our body properly, right, then things become more chaotic. And that is exactly the mission that we're on, is to help us be so self-aware in a world that feels very chaotic, right? Everything around us is chaos. And just to find that piece, from a medicine piece, from a spiritual piece, from a you piece, of how to bring those parts back to us, and for us to be able to hold that and be as optimized and as successful as we want to be, whatever that looks like for each one of us.
Amazing. Wow. Thank you so much. I feel like everyone just learned everything they needed to know their whole lives right here in these past 10 minutes together.
Mhm.
And so, where can people find you?
Yeah, so I'm physically located in Sarasota, Florida. I practice in 10 other states from a medical practice standpoint. You can find me at leshlifestyle.com. I'm also on Instagram, lesh.life.style. And I have a lot of educational content on my YouTube, which is at Dr. Sarah. We would love for you to be part of the family, right? We call each other the family, our
Yeah.
tribe. I call everyone, we're all in this tribe together. Whether that's from a patient perspective, whether that's just you coming and checking out the education and hearing and seeing what you need. Because the real mission is that we learn these things and we share them with everyone else. We want to be the conversation at dinner tables. I think you do too.
Yeah.
But I want women to be, do you know what I just learned? Right? Like, do you know what you can do? Like, what is your ferritin? Right? This is my dream conversations for people's Friday night dinners. It's like, are you on vaginal estrogen? Like, are you optimizing your health? This is what I learned, right? And I think you align with that, right? You want women to understand, people to understand how to have those connections and then share them, right? Because the gift is sharing, right? And being able to really have impact and help people through whatever time that is, and working on those things. So I'm so thankful that you allowed me to come on and say my thing. And I'm really just grateful for all of the work that you're doing and excited for all the things to come.